Today I'm going to talk about a country which happens to be one of the smallest countries in Europe, but also the country that has the smallest labor slack. A labor slack is the buffer that you have in the labor market and is generally equal to the number or percentage of unemployed people. So this country happens to be one of the smallest countries in Europe, but also has the smallest labor slack, which means that the unemployment ratio or the unemployment numbers here are unusually low. The labor shortage here has been endemic. It's not something that came after the pandemic, so it has been endemic for a lot of years and they've been trying to change a lot of things. That's why this country was on our radar of a lot of immigrants. And today I'm going to take you through some of the big changes that they have brought about and how they have come up with, again, a website that you can use to move there. The reason why I recommend you move to this country is because it's going to be relatively easier for you to get an EU Blue Pass. An EU Blue Pass will allow you to work anywhere in Europe. So if you're finding it difficult in other countries and if you just want your foot in the door, then this can be it. So make sure you stick around. My name is Nidhi Nagori and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm taking you to yet another trip, so make sure you pack your bags and pull that seatbelt tight because you and I are gonna fly to Europe. Alright, so the country that I'm talking about is Malta. Way back when I had made a video on Malta, and I know that I had a lot of requests, like, cover it again, a lot of questions around it. That's when I kind of realized that a lot of people want to move to Malta because, like I said, the labor shortage has been endemic and they have been trying to do a lot of different things. But there was another study that was done in April 2023, which again showed the same numbers. In fact, it showed that the numbers are worsening in terms of the labor crisis, that they really don't have people. Why so? Because Malta faces two problems. The first is the labor shortage. Obviously, that's something that's going around across Europe, but also a lot of brain drain. A lot of people use Malta as their entry way to Europe and then they eventually move out. People don't really look at Malta as a place that they could settle in. And I've had a couple of followers reach out to me on Instagram here and there telling me that, their parents have a business in Malta and they haven't been able to find workers. So if you're considering a move abroad, Malta can be the next best place for you. I will give you a little bit of pros and cons. Obviously, the con is that it's relatively small. The amount that you're going to make, the salary itself won't be as high as when you're looking at a Germany or a France per se. But then again, the taxes are better here. You will be charged a higher tax for the first 6 months, I think, when you move, but then you'll also get a rebate, so you'll get a lot of those taxes back. So compared to most countries in Europe, the tax structure here is better. Also, the weather is much more conducive if you're moving from anywhere within South Asia. Most people in South Asia are used to more of a warmer tropical climate, and Malta can be closer to that. I think I first got exposed to Malta in some Bollywood movies, and that's when I knew that the country existed. So the con of it being a really small place and having limited growth opportunities is obviously a big con. But like I said, it could work for someone, especially if you're somebody who's not overly ambitious, which is not a bad thing at all. Or if you're somebody who just wants a foot in the door, this can be a great opportunity. So to make your life easier, the government of Malta has launched a website that's called Working in Malta. It is meant for foreigners who are looking for opportunities in Malta, and I will take you through it. Quick plug, I really love that these countries have been, taking so many efforts to make sure that foreigners find it easy to come in there, and sometimes it is all about knowing the resources. Alrighty, so let's get started and let's jump onto the website. So here I am on the website, Working in Malta, that I already said. You have jobs, working in Malta, living in Malta. I do want to say that they have some of the best information out there. A lot of things that other countries have missed is here, and I'm going to show you. So they tell you, how to get a Maltese ID card, opening a bank account. EU nationals can get healthcare for free, but then if you have the right documentation, you can also get it. You will also be entitled to state healthcare. If you are not an EU national, you can see you're entitled to state healthcare if you're working, but you need health insurance. So please make sure that your job contract and visa has all of this covered. You might also be entitled to other benefits such as children's allowance, not something that many people get on visas in other countries. And like I said, the individuals relocating to Malta will be subject to a higher tax ban for the first 183 days, but you will see that this will be partially refunded via tax rebate. So once you do your tax return, a lot of it will come back to you. So once you figure out what your life is going to be like once you move to Malta, that's when they say the next step for you is to look for a job or find an accommodation in Malta. They also have a lot of other information around e-residence permit, work permit. Keep in mind that most countries in Europe require 2 permits, work and residence. So they have that info here. Honestly, while this website does not look as fancy as the Germany one or some of the other ones that I've seen, like they could definitely do some better UI, UX. But I do feel that they have so much more information like tax, property, insurance, social security, healthcare. These are not even things that other countries talk about. And these are things that, people move and they eventually have to figure out. I like that Malta is very upfront about what you're going to get into. They also have this amazing FAQ. An important question for any immigrant is like, am I going to fit in with the Maltese people? And then how hard is it to learn Maltese? And should I even bother learning it? That kind of tells you that, the expectation is not that you learn Maltese to enter the country. It was an expectation in many countries, but they're also changing it. But Malta has really put it on their website. They also tell you how you can learn Maltese, and they tell you that, it's tough to learn, but you will be able to integrate well. And then they also tell you some amazing stuff about moving all the furniture and all of that. I do want to say that I gave a quick read and I found the cost of living page very helpful. So I would recommend looking at that because it tells you a lot about, what are the costs going to be like. Because you'll notice the salaries are lower, but then your costs are also lower. So if I'm going to earn 20,000 euros and end up spending 10 or 12,000, I'm still able to save the 10. I'm good, as opposed to making 30,000 somewhere else and spending 25,000. You know what I mean? So always do the cost benefit analysis, which I think this website does a good job of. All right, now coming on to the second most favorite part of the website, which is obviously the jobs. And you can see 387 jobs available, which I love, obviously. By the time this video goes on and you see this number might be different, just giving a quick disclaimer here. But right now, as I look at it, it's 387. Now let's go ahead and look at a couple of the opportunities. Let's look at this role because I just like the salary. The pay band is decent. It's office manager, south of Malta. It's gonna pay you 35,000 euros and it's gonna close end of May. So here you go. You already have the recruiter's info, a phone number. You can send her an email, etc. And this is all the role that's needed. You will be required to, once you land, you will be required to have a driving license and a car. Let's look at another job, which is software developer, just because I like it. Again, you have the name of the recruiter here. You can send her an email. You can also see the status. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So you can see the status that she's evaluating resumes right now. 3 to 5 years of work ex, excellent knowledge, blah, blah, blah. A lot of good perks that they have. They also have health insurance. Clearly, they are open to hiring foreigners because health insurance is already covered for EU nationals. So if they're offering health insurance, it means they're open to sponsorship. From what I remember, it's a very quick application. So just create a profile and go ahead and apply here. So do that. You can also look at different filters that are here, like job levels, job type. You want to look at internship, contract, blah, blah, blah. Industries, salary, if you have a preference, job focus, etc. So I do think like this is a really good place to get started, kind of just see what all is available, what are the different kind of roles that are available. This is what I generally do. Like I go to all these different jobs that are there and I look through and I scan through. I always recommend, however, that before you get started on all of this, please make sure that your LinkedIn is good. One of the things that you can also do is reach out to the recruiters. So like, if you go to this billing officer role, you see Leanne Saliba, just find her on LinkedIn and send her a note. That really works in your favor. Again, the mistake that most people do is they don't work on their LinkedIn and then they just send a random message. There are so many do's and don'ts. Keep in mind, LinkedIn is social media. You have to make it work in your favor. For that, I have my LinkedIn masterclass, which is coming on June 11th. The only thing I want to tell you about that is I've done this masterclass previously also. And all my mentors this year are my success stories from last year. So these are people who took my masterclass last year, were able to move to UK, one was able to move to Germany, one was able to find opportunities in Romania, Finland, Sweden, etc. So I have people coming from different parts of the world to tell you that, of course, they've taken tips from me, they implemented it themselves, it's all their hard work, but really there's a checklist of things, a checklist of do's and don'ts. I'll leave the link in the description box. So please make sure you go ahead and check that out. If you are wondering who our mentors are, we're doing a bunch of live sessions with them. It's on my Instagram, so you can go and check that out as well. I'll make sure to link all of that info for you here. Listen to their stories and see how LinkedIn made a lot of difference to their lives. And once you've set up your LinkedIn, then it's kind of easy to take your steps forward, not just for Malta, but for any other country. On that note, there was a lot of discussion about Malta. I hope you liked this video. I'll also maybe put the older video in the eye somewhere here so you know what the latest updates are. And I hope that you will consider Malta as a serious alternative for yourself. I promise to see you in the next video and maybe in my LinkedIn masterclass as well. Until then, you take care, stay safe, namaste.